What went wrong? Welcome back to this MCU discussion trying to figure out where the heck my love affair with the MCU went sideways. I am torn. I haven't been able to pinpoint it. If you want to go back and check part 1, I ran through the first 3 phases because not only do I still have an eternal love for everything up to and including Endgame, going back through there helped me also take off the rose-colored glasses for a couple of those films here and there that didn't connect the way that they were intending. But as a whole, phases 1 through 3 were, once again, cinematic masterpiece. Entering phase 4 is a trip. There are so many films, but now also TV shows that go into this. Now, fortunately, Thunderbolts has started to bring back, rekindle that excitement for the next MCU project. But for the longest time, after Endgame, there was that moment. Something happened where it's no longer a must-watch event for me. There are still those movies. There's still those characters that I will figure out a way to get to the theater on an opening weekend. Fantastic Four was one of them just this summer. But that used to be every single release, whether or not it was a character in my upper echelon of fandom or not. It was just, if it was MCU, it was for me. If you've been an MCU fan this whole time, I think it's going to be interesting going through these titles because it was for me. And initially, it wasn't just like Endgame happened and it dropped off. My excitement for every single project was still peak. So here we go. In 2021, we started with WandaVision. WandaVision, I know early on, the first viewing, I was not quite sure what to make of it. I was excited because of the promotional stuff. I knew they'd be going back in time. But yeah, it did catch me off guard. But that was the point. That was the point. And that's a show that now, not only did I really enjoy the run of it, but even the initial couple of episodes where I'm like, what are they doing? What are they going back to rewatch it? It's amazing because then you start picking up all of the other little signs and tells and things. So I thought it was really fascinating. So I truly enjoyed WandaVision. Next up was Falcon and Winter Soldier, 2 of my favorite buddy boy MCU characters. I love their partnership. I love their friendship. And that was another show that incredibly hyped up for it. I'm not going to pretend that it hit every expectation. So maybe that's what it is. Is it a degradation? Is it just degrading each time? Because it was, hey, this is still really cool. There's a lot to like. I do want to go back and really watch the show. I did do it a couple of times early on. I haven't gone back in a while. Around the time Captain America Brave New World was coming out, I did start watching the first episode again, but then I kind of tapped out. So I do need to give that another viewing. But because of that show, we have John Walker, we have Zemo. That was a great appearance of Zemo. I want to see more of him in future shows. We get so much with Elaine Bennis's character, whatever her name is. I'll figure that out in a second. So it set the tone for a lot of stuff. Really liked the themes. I thought the action sets were pretty cool. Again, it was still keeping a high level of interest out of me and quality in storytelling. I think looking back, because I haven't done it in a while, I think there was a lot of stuff to do with the antagonists of the show. Forget why people weren't super thrilled with it, but I thought it was an interesting. I have to go back. But it left me feeling, yeah, I need to watch it again. So that's still a good thing. Because not every single one of these is going to win an Oscar or an Emmy. Speaking of Emmys, though, we get into Loki after this. Freaking fantastic. Giving us Owen Wilson, wow. Giving us what led to the TVA and the whole multiverse, eventually into Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, that show, insane. And it really hyped me up for multiversal stuff. The Loki show, highly, highly recommend. Fantastic. And you get 2 seasons out of it, so that's big. Black Widow. I actually started watching this last night. I ended up falling asleep. around the time that Red Guardian was giving the girls back to the government to train. So I didn't get to the modernized contemporary versions of the characters. But I really enjoyed that movie back when it first came out. It was a Disney Plus drop. I know it was so fun. I went over to my neighbor Dan's house, the Captain 1134. We had a little movie bro night. It was great, and we really enjoyed it. We were yucking it up all along. It's another movie I have to watch because while I have a general, it built up more of an interest and also enjoyment of those characters. I was something off with, I know Taskmaster was underutilized, but you know, Thunderbolts, there was something about that too that just left a little flat. That's the thing, a lot of these were about sticking landings. I think that's what it was. I enjoyed the ride, but the landings were not clicking as I'm going through this. And that's what starts to happen. It is that little letdown. It does hurt over time. From Black Widow, we then get into the What If. I love the What If. First season, fantastic. Second, what is it? The What If show was another really amazing concept. I love, Marvel Zombies. I love Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. All of the different things that you can get weird with. So first season, though, really was fantastic. And then 2 and even 3. Right? Aren't we on 4 seasons now?
Correct!
So first season, which is what I'm talking about here, the first season, massive. Couldn't wait. Bought all the Marvel Legends that I could. It's really worth watching if you are a fan. They get to use a lot of the voice actors. The animation's amazing. But it's still a standalone What If story. But then it brings you into the Watcher, and I got that Build-A-Figure. It's just so neat. So season 1 of What If, amazing. I'm actually going to split the MCU Phase 4 into 2 parts because with the addition of television, there are so many projects. Think about Phase 1 was how many movies, right? So this entire phase encompasses so many works. Here are the last 4. This is going to close out the year 2021, and that's still Phase 4. 2022, still Phase 4. So for the rest of the 2021, here we go. Shang-Chi, really awesome. Where is he? Where is this character? I like that movie a lot. Of course, the landing, I thought it was a neat way to go about it with the character and the lore and the tradition and all of the things. That being said, it did start not exactly jumping the shark, but I can see where that criticism came in. But it was fun. It was a fun movie. I love that character. We need more. We need more. Eternals. I think the less we say about this, the better. I prefer my Marvel characters to be street level. This movie basically, just from a plot line and introduction to this universe, was why does Spider-Man matter? Why does Daredevil matter when you have these celestial gods? That's the one issue with the whole cosmic bigger than your blah, blah, blah. And I've never been a big cosmic Marvel guy. But forgetting that, as a movie then, also still just, cool stuff. I like aspects of it. But essentially it did just fall flat. It just wasn't great. Cool moments, cool things. I like some of the characters, but yeah, just that deserves, like, Eternals needs its own breakdown, to be honest. Like, I could rewatch that painfully, which I might. So stay tuned. All right, final 2. Hawkeye. I was excited for season 2 because season 1 was awesome. It's another show I put on during the holiday season. It's become that for the last couple of years, and I would like to see more. That was a lot of fun. And it gave us the Tracksuit Mafia toys out of there too, which are some of the best Marvel Legends army building action figures you can get. So that was really awesome. And last but not least, we have No Way Home. I actually goofed in part 1 of my video. I talked about Spidey, but it was Far From Home. I did not see that in the theater because I just became a new dad with twins. So that was not in the cards for me to leave my wife with these two little babies. So if you did hear me talk about that Spidey movie, I was really talking about this one. The fact that Dan and I got to go and we popped so hard with every last appearance and cameo, and then ultimately the climax. It was a moment in time, just like this summer too, where I needed to have the messaging of hope and kindness and believing in yourself. And I needed it then, I need it now. I think we all need it as people forever. No Way Home is still one I will just throw on, and now I don't necessarily need to watch every minute of it because I compare it in the same vein to the kind of the gimmick of Deadpool and Wolverine. So after multiple viewings, you do start tuning some things out or just finally not being able to ignore some of the choices that they made on certain creative points. But on the whole, it's Spider-Man with Tobey and Tom and Andrew. I will always want to see that. And that's how it closed out. That was how 2021 of Phase 4 closed out. And just to give you the little reminder as to what would be next chronologically from release, it would be Moon Knight, as if going back to the TV show, which then went into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So that's what we're going to then pick up, because business does kind of pick up a little bit in terms of the overarching storylines, because some stuff does start to finally come together in Phase 4, which was another big thing that I think after Thanos and Endgame we lacked. I know I was spoiled for this connective thread, and not that it needed to happen, but once it was pretty obvious that each movie, it's the thinnest of connective thread as opposed to where you can see the development of an overarching baddie, because it is a comic book and we lead up to that next event. But that's where it all starts to settle in. Let me know. This is Phase 4 of the year 2021. What was your favorite show? What was your least favorite show? And then out of those movies, which one takes your heart and which one do you think you'll never go back and watch again? I'm really fascinated to know, because at this point, knowing Moon Knight's coming next, I know where I was with that. Give me all the figures. I want all the things. Despite this continual slight letdown each time to some varying degree. Thank you so much for checking out this video. And just so you know, if you want to hang out on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I not only talk about life, superheroes, but action figures and toys. So I hope to see you in the chat one of these days. And in the meantime, have a great rest of yours now. Peace.